So better let us start with the revision. And today we are going to revise chapter, The Bond of Love. Okay? You can keep the books in front of you so that you can refer to the lines if in case you require it. So just a quick recap of the story, that how the narrator, he was traveling with his friends and they were passing through the sugarcane fields. And then at that time, the narrator, he found a bear cub by chance when he and his friends, they were passing through the sugarcane fields, right? And they were crossing through the Mysore city. And people, they were driving away the wild pigs from their fields. So they were shooting at it and they were driving the wild pigs. And as they were crossing, suddenly what happened that a sloth bear, it came in front of the car. So they spotted the sloth bear, and narrator's friend, he shot towards the bear and it died at that moment. So after the sloth bear died, the cub of that sloth bear, it ran around her dead body, making a sad noise. So the narrator caught the bear and he brought it and gifted it to his wife. So the narrator's wife, she was very happy to see the bear there and she named the bear Bruno. And she started taking care of Bruno. At first, she gave Bruno to drink milk from the bottle. Then Bruno, very soon, within a few days, started eating different kind of things. So he ate porridge, vegetables, fruits, then rice, milk. Even he drank milk, coffee, juices, and it also included the bear and liquor. Alcoholic liquor hai. The bear, it started to drink all these kind of things too. And then Bruno, as he started growing, he was very attached to narrator's wife, and the children of the tenants, those who lived there, they also became friendly with Bruno. And Bruno was also very attached to the two Alsatian dogs that the narrator had. So we find that how Bruno was very friendly to everyone. And then once an incident happened, that narrator, he had put some rat poison in the library and Bruno ate it. So he suffered a stroke of paralysis. And so he dragged himself to the narrator's wife somehow. He managed to drag himself to the narrator's wife there. And they immediately took him to the veterinary doctor. And veterinary doctors kaun hote hain? Those who treat animals. Yes. And the doctor gave him a 10 cc injection, but it did not have any effect on Bruno. Then he gave another dose of 10 cc injection, and then finally Bruno recovered after some time, and he was again having the full meal at that time. And then another time, the narrator also shares another incident, that was that how he had taken out some old engine oil from the car, and he had kept it to kill the termites, but Bruno came and he drank that full 1 gallon of engine oil. But luckily, fortunately, it had no ill effects on him. Now, as Bruno was growing, he grew in a big size. He was huge in size. At that time, still he was very friendly. He did not have any wild traits. The wild animals, the traits they have, he was very friendly. He also learned some tricks. Okay, so at narrator's wife's command, he could perform them. So he could hold a stick like a gun. And when the author's wife, she said wrestle or box, he did the same. And she also named Bruno Baba. She started calling him Baba. Now, Baba, as he was now huge in size, so he had to be chained, as there were the children in the house, the tenants' children. They were actually getting scared of Bruno because of its huge size, although Bruno was not harmful to anybody. But still, the children, they were afraid. And it was also very becoming inconvenient to keep Bruno at home. He would keep roaming in the house. He had a huge size, so a difficulty was there to keep Bruno at home then. Now, as he was growing in size, and he also equaled the dogs, two dogs they had, and then also the size was then huge. He surpassed their size. So the narrator and his friends, they advised the narrator's wife that they should send him to the zoo in Mysore, because he needed a bigger and open space. It was now difficult to keep Bruno at home, and moreover, people, they were getting scared of Bruno too. But in the beginning, she was not ready to send Bruno, but she had to agree later on. Now, while Bruno was in zoo, narrator's wife was also very sad. She was not eating anything. Similar was the condition of Bruno. And when she wrote a letter to the curator of the zoo, she came to know that how Baba was also fretting. Baba was also very sad. He was also not eating anything. So she decided that she would finally meet Baba at zoo. So after 3 months, she visited the zoo. So the narrator, he took his wife to the zoo. And when they were about to leave, some of their friends, they told that Baba, he would not recognize her. But when narrator's wife, she went to the zoo, when she was yards away from the cage, Bruno recognized her and he expressed his delight by standing on his head. He expressed the delight, the happiness in that way. Then author's wife, she spent nearly 3 hours in the zoo, and then the closing time came. She also gave him food to eat, and when the closing time arrived, she urged the curator that they should send Baba with them. But the curator, he was helpless, but he suggested them that they should talk to the superintendent of the zoo. So it was decided that they would meet him. And when they met the superintendent of the zoo, he was a very kind and compassionate man. He allowed that Baba should be given back to the author's wife. So Baba was hoisted on top of narrator's car. They went back to Mysore with the letter that he had written to the curator, and a cage was given to them, and Baba was placed in that cage, and the cage was kept on top of the car. So they returned back to Bangalore. And there in their compound of the house, they had built an island for Bruno. The problem of keeping Bruno was then solved by making an island in the compound area of the house. So a 20 feet long and 15 feet wide island was made for him. A pit was also created around the island so that Bruno could not cross that area. So this way, the problem of keeping Bruno was solved. Then for Bruno, a wooden box was also kept so that he could sleep there, and thus narrator's wife and Bruno, they would spend hours together in the island. So this way, the story conveys a message that how even animals, they show love and compassion towards human beings. They also have their unique identities, and they also, if you give them love, affection, they also give you the same in return. They also have their feelings. So thus, this story, it guides us that we should always be kind and compassionate towards animals. We should not harm them. And if you're taming an animal, if you're keeping animals at home as pet, then it is your duty that you should take care of those animals in a proper manner. Okay? So this is the story in brief. I hope the story is clear to all. इसी के साथ very quickly I'll be revising the poem On Killing a Tree written by G.V. Patel. I hope you remember the theme of the poem, that how in this poem the poet has taken the tree to be symbol of evil. It is a deep-rooted evil, and the poet says that it cannot be wiped off easily. So you cannot just kill a tree easily, and cutting a tree merely will not kill it because it has the ability to sprout again after some time. If you just cut it with a knife, it is not going to injure it so badly. The wound will heal soon, and again the tree will be all right there. If you cut branches, it will also not kill a tree because the branches will grow again. So tree cannot be killed by a simple jab of a knife. Then a tree grows very slowly by feeding itself on the earth. जो पेड़ है, जो धरती पर depend करता है, earth, it supports the tree. So it indicates that evil is also deep rooted in the surroundings, and it cannot be uprooted so easily without changing the environment. So deep rooted evils cannot be just killed just by talking about it, criticizing it. So some strong efforts are required, some solid efforts are required so that you can uproot those evils from the society. So the poet has taken the tree as an example to convey this message, that for uprooting the tree, the deep-rooted evil, one has to tie the rope to it and then pull it out completely. and thus then it will come out of the cave and expose its white roots to the sunlight. So when you uproot a tree, the roots, it comes out from the soil, it comes out of the earth, and then you let it to dry. So what will happen? So after that, the roots will get dry, the sun and the air will make the roots brown and hard, and then it will start twisting, and slowly and finally it will wither away and the tree will finally die. So similar way, on one hand talked about safeguarding the environment by planting more and more trees. In a sarcastic manner, he criticizes the action of people, the action of man when they are destroying the trees, when they are killing the trees. And then on the other side, symbolically, he refers to the fact that how this tree is a symbol of deep-rooted evil, and these deep-rooted evils just cannot be killed by talking about it or criticizing it. We need to take strong action, strong measures so that we can uproot those evils from the society. I hope it is clear to all. The poem, simple, okay? And various devices, the poetic devices are used in the poem. So now I will start with the question answers, and with the discussion of questions, we will revise these two chapters, okay? Now, सबसे पहले, we will start with the questions. Where did the author first meet the baby bear? Yes, beta? In sun and air. Now what happens when you let the roots dry, it turns into brownish and blackish color. So that means browning. Okay? So the color will change when you keep the roots under the sun, that way. G. So first question, those who are online, raise your hand. Where did the author first meet the baby bear? Hanji. Yes, बताइए. Who will answer? Hanji, बोलिए पुष्कर.
The author first meet the Bruno at the sugarcane fields where his mother and there the author takes the bear cub Bruno to his house.
Okay. Yes, from online, Rohanshi, answer the question. Unmute and tell the answer. Where did the author first meet the baby bear? Rohanshi, unmute. Ashish, you try the answer.
The author met baby bear first time when he was driving through the sugarcane fields in Mysore, and uh, shooting shooting at wild pigs to drive them away. But accidentally, the author's friend shot a sloth bear, whose baby cub came around to see her dead body and made a very sad noise. And the author met first time the author met the baby bear first time there and took it to his home.
Yes, so the author, he was passing through the sugarcane fields in the car with his friends. So at that time, some people, they were driving away wild pigs in the fields. So it was at that time that a sloth bear suddenly came in front of the author's car, and one of his friends, he shot the bear. And then they saw that there was also a baby cub around the body of the mother bear, and it ran towards the field. So the author caught the baby bear. So it was in the sugarcane fields that the author, he met the baby bear, right? What did the author's wife give to Bruno to eat and drink? Harleen, try and answer the question. What did the author's wife give to Bruno to eat and drink? Harleen, unmute and answer. Simran? All of you keep your videos on. Jakteshwar? ऑथर की वाइफ ब्रूनो को खाने के लिए और पीने के लिए क्या देती थी? Archana, you try this question. Archana.
Ma'am, at first, author's wife gave Bruno milk in bottle to drink, and after few days, he started eating everything uh, like porridge, vegetables, fruits, nuts, etc. And he drank everything uh, like like. Coffee, milk, tea. Also, he drank alcoholic drinks and he loved eating all these.
Yes, correct. Okay, answer is clear to all. So the author's wife, she fed the baby cub with the milk in the bottle, and then within a few days, Bruno started eating everything, which included porridge, vegetables, fruits, nuts, and he also drank tea, coffee, even alcoholic liquors, etc. So he drank and ate almost everything. Next question. Why was it necessary to send Bruno to the zoo? Yes, Vita. Why was it necessary to send Bruno to the zoo?
Because the neighbors were afraid of Bruno.
Why the neighbors, they were afraid? You need to tell that first.
Because he was a wild animal.
No, he was a wild animal, but the reason is something else. Hanji Beta.
By the gradually by time, Bruno started growing larger and larger, and the kids of parents start getting afraid of Bruno, and because of their afraid, they have to send Bruno to zoo.
Okay, take it. Correct. Yes, Yuvraj, online students may say, Yuvraj, you give the answer to this question. Why was it necessary to send Bruno to the zoo? Kindly unmute. Yuvraj. Gunesh. Gunesh, unmute.
It was necessary to send Bruno to the zoo as it was huge in size, and it also teased the two dogs and the uh, children of the children of the neighbors, and it was very difficult to keep Bruno at home as uh, it was not now a small bear.
Yes. Now, Bruno, he was not just a small bear. So, Bruno, he grew up in size. His height was almost equal to that of two Alsatian dogs that the narrator had. Okay? Moreover, he was growing day by day. And the tenants' children, not the neighbors' children. In the story, the fact that is mentioned, the children were of the tenants, the kirayedar reh rahe the. The tenants' children, they were scared of him. And it was also difficult to keep Bruno chained all the time. Taken up. So because of this, the inconvenience that was caused because of Bruno's huge size, it was decided to send Bruno to the zoo. Clear? Next question. What treatment was given to Bruno when he ate poison? Sumit? Yes. Paralysis. Yes. Correct answer. So you will mention that a 10 cc of antidote was given, right? So first you will mention what was the accident. That one day Bruno accidentally ate the poison barium carbonate, which was put in the library by the narrator to kill the rats. So he was struck by the paralysis. So immediately he was rushed to the vet's residence. There, the doctor gave him the antidote of the poison. So first he gave the dose, a 10 cc dose to it, but there was no effect. Then he gave another dose of injection, and then Bruno finally recovered. Okay, so this was the treatment given. Next question. What type of home was made for Bruno at the author's house? Yes. What type of home was made for Bruno at the author's house when he was brought back from the zoo? What type of home was made for him? Pond in his house? No. What do you call that? पॉन्ड तो हो गया तालाब, है ना? तो क्या तालाब तो नहीं बनाया था, क्या बनाया था? आइलैंड. चलिए कंटिन्यू करिए. एन आइलैंड वाज क्रिएटेड. You have not read. अभी मैंने डिस्कस भी किया था when I was doing the recap of the story and I asked you to read the story from home. Sit down. Yes, from online, Vanshdeep, try and give the answer. Vanshdeep, roll number 41. Unmute. No response. Very nice. Malvika.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, answer the question. What type of home was made for Bruno?
Ma'am, an island was made for Bruno. It was 20 feet long and 15 feet wide, which was surrounded by a dry pit. Um,
And then? Yes.
and then a wooden box uh, that housed four.
Also there, and some straw was placed in it so that Baba could sleep in the box. Okay? And he was also given all the things with which he used to play at that time.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So an island was created in the compound of the house, and this island was 20 feet long and 15 feet wide. The measurement should be written accurately for this answer, right? And then a dry pitch was also created. A moat was created surrounding the island, which was 6 feet wide and 7 feet deep. Then a wooden box was also placed in the island, so and straw was placed in it so that Bruno could sleep in it. And this way, a home was created for Bruno in the house. Is it okay? Next question. How do you know that the author's wife was deeply attached to Bruno? Kavya, roll number 24, Kavya. Answer the question. आप ये कैसे कह सकते हो कि author's wife जो थी, she was deeply attached to Bruno? So give examples justifying the answer. Those who know the answer, you can raise hand. And yes, Shishant, you try the answer.
When wife went to the zoo to meet Bruno for a long time, they both of them spent a lot of time, and when it was time to go back to their home, she was crying, and she didn't want to let Bruno
Leave Bruno.
leave Bruno. So this shows that author's wife had attachment with Bruno.
Okay, almost correct. You can add a few more points there. Sit up. Yes, Priyanka, try and answer the question. How do you know that the author's wife was deeply attached to Bruno? Priyanka. Drig, give the answer. Drig, beta, give the answer.
Ma'am, excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, beta.
Ma'am, author's wife was deeply attached to Bruno because when she gave him a lot to eat like porridge, vegetables, pork, rice, etc. And she spent a lot of time playing with Bruno. And when Bruno was sent to zoo to live in a safe environment for him, the wife also was very sad and fretted and couldn't control herself for first few days. And after 3 months of separation, she asked the author to let him visit the zoo. And when they visited the zoo, the wife and Bruno were delighted to see each other. And then she also spent a lot of time giving him everything to eat. And when the closing time came, she cried and requested the uh, requested
The curator.
requested the curator to give him back his baba. But when they went to Bangalore to ask about this to the superintendent, he agreed. And they Bruno was brought back to Bangalore. And when then island was made for him, and she also spent hours uh, with him in the island of
Yes.
Bruno.
Yes, Craig, answer is almost correct, but you are not to explain it in such an elaborated way, right? If you are going to write it for 30, 40 words, then you need to make it very brief, right? So briefly it is to be written. So keep this in mind. I have seen that you have the habit of writing the answer in a very elaborated way. Don't do that. So briefly it mentioned that how the author's wife, she treated Bruno just like her son. She used to feed him with everything that she used to get in the house, as Bruno liked eating everything. She would spend time with him. Most of the time, she spent it with Bruno. And then when Bruno was sent back to the zoo, then she was not happy. She became sad. And when she came to know that Bruno was also fretting in the zoo, she went to meet him. And then she requested the curator that Bruno should be given back to her. And then they were suggested to meet the superintendent, who allowed them to take back Bruno. And this way they brought Bruno back to their house. And then an island was created where the narrator's wife would spend maximum time with Bruno in that island. So this way we can say that how author's wife was attached to Bruno. Okay? Now let us quickly discuss few of the questions of the poem, that is on killing a tree, right? Arsh, try this first question. The growing of a tree is slow process. Arsh Sood, it's your turn to answer. It takes a long time to describe the process that a tree grows. The growing of a tree is a slow process. It takes a long time. Describe the process. Arsh Sood. No response. Yes, Kabir, answer the question.
I'm going to see very long distance, but I'm going to start the seed to the soil, and then we have to water the plant. For a first 2 or 3 weeks, that water the plant regularly. After some time, the roots grow, roots of the plant grow, then you not need to the water, but the plant is need to make so that the plant gets enough sunlight to do the photosynthesis and reproduce. So it takes a lot of time.
Yes. Somewhere better you need to answer the facts mentioned in the poem. The wordings that are used by the poet, like a tree consumes the earth and then it slowly grows, okay, with the help of air, water, sunlight. It also absorbs nutrients from the soil, and this way, the years of sunlight, air, and water help a tree to grow. Okay, so use the things, the facts in a way the poet has explained. Do not go for the scientific explanation talking about the photosynthesis and all that. That is a scientific explanation. You have to answer the question in a poetic manner, the way the poet has explained in the poem. Right? Clear to all? Next question, Archana, you give the answer. What happens when a tree is jabbed with a knife? Archana, what happens when a
Ma'am,
tree is jabbed? Yes.
Ma'am, when a tree is jabbed with a knife, it doesn't causes much harm as the tree is huge in size. It doesn't get much wounded. It heals very quickly and again grows from the part where it was jabbed.
Yes, correct answer. So when a tree is jabbed with a knife, nothing actually happens to it. It only gets injured, right? So it bleeds. The bark bleeds also. We see the sap, the liquid sap flowing out of it, oozing out of it, but it gets healed very soon. So actually nothing happens. So from the place where it is jabbed, we see curled green leaves and twigs growing again. So we see that how the tree gets healed, and a jab of knife, it actually does not cause much harm to the tree. Okay? Next. So what
Excuse me,
happens
ma'am.
when the tree is hacked but not uprooted? When the poet is
Excuse me,
talking
ma'am.
about hacking with an axe, what happens to the tree when it is hacked? Who will tell?
Excuse me, Satpal ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Lavanya wants to ask a question.
Yes, Lavanya, please ask your question.
Ma'am, in the poem, there is a word leprous hide.
Yes,
Please
okay.
explain it once.
Yes, leprous hide, it's a metaphor used in the poem. It is referred to the skin of the tree. Now, leprous is taken from the word leprosy. Leprosy means a person suffering from the disease. It is a disease of skin. Now, if you see the skin of the tree, you also find it is very coarse, it is very rough. So, that roughness of the tree is compared with the patient suffering from the disease leprosy. So the poet talks about the leprous hide, that how the branches they grow from the tree, right? And talking about the skin of the tree, that how the skin of the tree is, it is compared to the patient who is suffering from leprosy there, and the use of metaphor is there. Okay. Now we have less than a minute left, so we will continue discussion in the next session tomorrow. Okay. So we'll start with the question answer of this poem, and then we will also do some of the recap of chapters and discuss the chapters and question answers. Okay. So do take reading of the syllabus that is in your PT3, and we will start discussion tomorrow. Okay, students. So have a nice day. Thank you all.